everybody! Welcome to Light Conversations
with 3 of Cups Entertainment. I'm Lora Hypnosis.
Sherry Platt.
And Donika.
So we were having a conversation this morning and we were generating lots and lots of creative ideas. And then we looked at each other and said, okay, so when does creativity become a distraction? Right? Or when does creativity take over and you have so many good ideas, but nothing ever gets done? In fact, creativity may actually inhibit things getting done.
Oh, it certainly can.
So we thought, hey, that would be the great conveation for today.
I love it.
And then Laura said, yeah, she's in, and we're actually sitting in her
creative space.
Creative
These are
space.
some of my artworks behind us.
Gorgeous.
Also, guest star appearance from my friend Yvonne. His wonderful print is behind us as well. So shout out to Yvonne. I love his work. But yes, this overall is my creative space where I do all sorts of different art projects and get the juices going. Yep. But what was interesting when Sherry and Donika presented this idea, this topic of creativity and how it might be a block, my personal views on it, like I've been creative my whole life, and especially as a young child, I was being bombarded with images and downloads left and right, but I didn't have context to know what that was. And so art became my outlet of expression, processing that energy. But as an adult, as I've learned different methods and techniques to navigate my own spiritual practices and even like the subconscious realms, like through hypnosis, I've discovered how creativity, excuse me, thank you.
Well, the season of allergies.
Yeah, no kidding.
But creativity and spirituality, those components interplay with each other in the subconscious. Like they're interlocked. Like, I'll have this cleared up eventually.
Want me to get your water?
Oh, I have it nearby.
Okay.
No worries. But with creativity, I remember when I was 16 years old, having one of like the most pivotal spiritual awakening moments for me, where I was finally at an age to be more conscious and more concise with understanding like the voices that were happening or coming at me in my head. And I was like, that's not my own voice. What's going on? But I quite literally, my own spirit guide, I didn't know that she was my spirit guide at the time, but I was getting messages from her, was telling me different things about my creative mind and what I was experiencing. And her basically, I was like, well, who are you? What's going on? And she didn't say she was my spirit guide at first, but all she said, she's like, I'm your muse. And for at the time, I didn't know fully what that meant other than recognizing that a lot of the creative concepts and ideas I was being bombarded with, again, were coming not just from this physical realm, but from other planes, other spiritual or dimensional planes of existence. And so a lot of my paintings and drawings like ended up expressing what I was receiving or what I was interpreting, and I just didn't know it at the time.
Right.
So now as an adult though, I know how to process this information and like focus and filter as needed so that I'm not just bombarded and getting distracted by all the million things like I did when I was younger.
And I also think that creativity doesn't just show up in art, because I'm not an artist, but I'm still hyper creative in terms of ideas. And I can also tell when I'm downloading ideas that wish to be brought into the physical realm, and when they're my ideas, which are just as valid and just as equal as the ones I'm channeling. What about you?
What about me? Well, as a Virgo, I have a lot of ideas coming through, and I feel I need to put some focus and intention in each one of it and which one of the ideas. So I'm trying to create and be project manager of so many things right now, and at the same time I need to focus, so it needs to start moving forward. And then I realized the idea is just coming down, as you said, and sometimes it might be me sharing with someone and it starts living its own life and coming to the person that's ready to create it. So it doesn't have to be me nurturing that baby and bringing it to life and kind of sharing with someone.
And also I think when people often come to you with their creative ideas, and then you help
To shape it a little bit.
Which is
so creativity is in everything we do. As you said, I'm not an artist, so creativity doesn't have to be only in the art world, and we see it more and more in business world when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. We are back to playing in whatever we do, and this is the best source of doing anything when you think about it.
I also want to say that for those of us who are channeling the information, it's okay for you to slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of times it comes in very fast, especially when a source says, oh, look, Sherry's open for another idea. Laura's open for this great image I have, right? You know, Donika is great at doing
this collaboration.
For this collaboration.
And this is the 10th of the month, right?
Exactly. So it's a matter of saying, okay, I hear you, thank you, and I'm going to ask you just to slow it down a little bit, or to at least even stop for just a little bit so I can get my head around this. And today there's like 5 projects where, in addition to the work that each of us are doing, so
Solo work.
right, the solo work we're doing, but we have 5 projects that are solid and good that we want to work on. So we have to start organizing it and creating a container for it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and a timeline, and dedicating, I really want to encourage you about this, is dedicating time during the week to actually have that creative concentration. So it's not brainstorming. I feel like we do a lot of brainstorming on our own, but it's like, okay, these are 5 solid ideas. Which is the priority? And so, and then I suggested today that we actually go to a creative place to do our work. So
be in that environment, right? In a beautiful hotel lobby with a coffee shop, or a museum that you like. So all that creative energy that's in that place is actually feeding your idea. So that was genius.
Yeah.
I thought about it, because most of us now, we work from home.
Exactly.
Or on the site when it's a side project, and
Right.
we try to be more mindful. So it's kind of rush. But the minute you're in a creative space, it's just happening. Everything just aligns so beautifully. So that was a very good suggestion.
Yeah, there's the Museum of Modern Art here, and the Dolly Museum have great coffee shops.
Coffee shops are
Yeah, and I don't know
phenomenal
if you
around
have to pay anything to get in. I think you just
No?
Yeah, the coffee shop's right there. So it's a creative, fun environment. And there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So
And another thing, like to add on to that, is how all of these spaces offer their own unique frequency.
you bet.
And that's definitely why the inspiration is there. It's like that's a unique energy frequency that we can all tap into and just see how that filters through us and what comes about from that. I was just talking to a friend not that long ago. They were asking me, because they don't consider themselves the creative type, and they were referring to like artistry. But they're very much into fitness. They're very much like love moving outdoors, and that like helps them be in this like really energetic place. And as they were saying, I was like, yeah, I'm curious about like being more creative and how that would emerge for me. And then I realized it's like, well, it doesn't have to emerge for you the same way it emerges for me. It's like, you don't necessarily have to convert that energy into literally a painting, or if it's not coming to you, if that's not the method or the tool for you to filter that energy. Like knowing that you're tapping into the energy itself is what's important, and seeing what comes through. Like inspiration can come through in all sorts of different forms. And different people have different inclinations. Again, like you're saying, it's like you don't consider yourself an artist. Again, not necessarily
Like
that
a
you're
creative
painting.
artist, like
you
what
don't
you do.
a visual artist at that point, right?
Visual artist.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
I like
good.
that.
It's like everybody's going to receive this information differently. So being inspired can take on so many different forms. But again, surrounding yourself in places that feel good, that feel like they're generating new concepts, new ideas to format or to bring into projects of any kind or any endeavors in your life. If it feels good, follow it. And if it feels new, that's your inspiration. It's like, oh, it feels like I haven't explored this before. Let me venture in to see what flows from this. And that can simply be, it's like now you're inspired to walk down a new neighborhood you never knew you wanted to explore. You may run into new people that you hadn't met before, and then you become collaborators on another sort of business adventure. Who knows what can come up through this?
Now, I do want to say that, you know, when clients come to me, you know, for career clarity, like what do I want to do? They often don't know. They think they don't know what kind of life they want to create for themselves. So I want to say that often our neurological programming, there's that topic again, affects our ability to know what we want to create, and can also affect our self-confidence in being able to create it. So why bother thinking about it if I can't make it happen? I hear that all the time, right? Why bother doing this if it's never going to happen? But so it's just allow yourself to have the thought, and if you're blocked, then you need to look at what is your belief system. For example, artists never won't make money. right?
Oh,
So that's one of the biggest cultural neural pathways there is that blocks creativity. Why are you an accountant? Well, I really want to be an artist, but I'll never be able to make money at it. Well, if you
So
think
I
that
do
way,
it on the side.
so I do it on the side,
Yeah.
which of course makes it a non-productive business because you put it on the side. So, and I'm not saying there's not validity, but for you to be able to explore, you have to be able to explore what works for you, but it won't if you keep shutting yourself down.
And another thing I'm coming to my mind, you can be creative in your work. It doesn't matter what you, Laura that said, it doesn't have to be in the art form, right? When I was growing up, I wanted to be an artist. That was my, any type of art. But back then, there was not too much information about it, how to get who to contact and stuff. And I was put into professional athlete world because that's what my mom knew at the time. So I was always kind of suffering with that in terms of, yes, I like my physical, being an athlete, all that collaboration and teamwork. At the same time, I was putting that creativity in. I was a professional basketball player, so everybody was saying you played beautifully. So there was no, yes, of course it was efficiency and all that and medals and but the idea was like, we watch you and it's just beautiful. So that was my creative, putting it there, the language I was using when I was on the court. So I was not the usual tomboy girl playing basketball. The things I was wearing, so I was definitely not into that. Like, oh yeah, we know her, she's doesn't fit, but she plays beautifully. So I put that creativity in this in some sense because I needed it around me.
Right.
So,
and I think athletes definitely do channel into that. It's like their focus and attention on the body form. It's like the appreciation for the structure, the nuance. It's like I know it's also a similar comparison, or like how people look at ballerinas. It's like ballet is a sport, but at the same time an art. Because the way they are structured to design their costumes and the postures, they're all about like straight lines, like within the form of the dancer,
and
like
fluidity and movement.
There's greater like observations at play that even an athlete is paying attention to that can be looked at as an art form.
That's true.
So art and creativity, again, creativity is the energy that creates new things. Create is in the name creativity.
Oh, take notes, guys.
Say that one more time.
Create is in the word creativity. So it's not necessarily about it coming out in a visual way. It's just about creating something new that hasn't been done before. This can be conceptually with just ideas and actions and bring about all sorts of new things. But the creativity out in the world can look like so many different things. Even musicians, they're taking energy waves and transmuting it and creating it into a sound that our ears can translate.
So it's kind of a state of mind overall.
Yes. Well, again, it's like the world, everything in it is energy, right?
Yeah.
So how we're manifesting and moving this energy and creating a new reality around us as a result of this creativity, I think that's the beauty in exploring creativity in general.
Yeah.
To see what are we manifesting.
And I love what you just said about when you said creating your own reality, right? So even like our day-to-day life is a creation.
Absolutely.
Right, because it's comprised of our thoughts, our belief systems, and our actions. So that means if you don't enjoy your life and the way it looks, it's because you are thinking thoughts, believing, or you've actually stopped yourself from creating the potential to have a different life, right? And think about all the times that we do that. Like when you know it's time to leave something, but you think you can't do it. Or when you know it's time to create something, but you can't think. Or you know a relationship has run its course, but you don't feel like it's the right thing to do to leave it. All these things block your ability to create a life.
Well, because you wait for someone to allow you to. I'm observing my kids being in a creative state, and the more they stay at the traditional school, it's like, this is like, stopped. Like it needs to be created, but this is the frame. Even when they need to do art form, it's like they literally give them the, what is it called? Like the template and the outline. I'm like, how is that even? Well, we teach them how to use different mediums. I'm like, I'm totally for it, but just let them do whatever they want. Why we all need to draw sunflower? I mean, I understand the things behind it, but the creative force is stopped. I allow you to use just different colors, but it needs to be a sunflower. And we carry that through our adulthood, and we need our partner to say, yes, I truly believe in your talent, go ahead. Or our supervisor at work to say, yeah, I believe in your idea, let's do it. So until we're in this state of someone needs to allow me to do something, then it's hard to step, and again, it can be the super trendy word of trauma that's stopping everything, right?
Right.
But it can be just do it. The more you do it as a muscle, the easier it gets. Right.
Well, I also think that a lot of things that block or stop people from moving forth with a new idea is the fear of doing something wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like when you remove that equation, I mean, it's hard because subjectively speaking, each and every one of us is going to have our own internal guidance system, our own version of right and wrong for us. That's the issue that I think people have when trying to work with their personal identity and structures and thoughts like in society. They're trying to figure out what is the broader right and wrong. How will I be accepted by the tribe? If I do something wrong, will I be rejected, outcasted, all those sorts of things. But again, you have to kind of believe in yourself even further and recognize, okay, this is my value. This is what lights me up. So that when you embrace that more and more, you're removing the idea of doing something wrong. But ultimately speaking, I've encountered that time and time again with so many people, with my clients. It's like they're so afraid of, harming other people, which is valid. That means you're an empathic, moral human being. Yay, love you for considering other people. But don't only consider other people to the detriment of you no longer considering yourself.
Yeah.
It's like find what is right for you and not worry about the wrong action dictating your choices.
And I think, as you were just talking about, that it helps to have a community of support, especially when we're in the process of reprogramming ourselves to this. So having somebody who says, that's really amazing, that's partially why we started the Psychic Social Club, right?
Absolutely.
The Psychic Social Club is a container for people who have felt outcasted or felt really different or observers or didn't feel
or
like
in a shifting place, right? Sometimes
Yes.
that's very scary. It's like, I
Yes.
was that and I'm exploring that, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of the Psychic Social Club. People come and we actually have created a container that's like, yeah, that's valid. Yeah, that's amazing. Yes, you're fine. Right?
In the space to have numerous subjects, sometimes we want to have a team and guest speaker, but I think the most beautiful gatherings were when we didn't have an agenda and we just open up to be like, okay, whatever comes. I think that's the best, to just have some space for no agenda, no bullet points.
No expectations on the outcome.
You know, one of my favorite Psychic Social Club gatherings was after we got back together after the hurricanes. And it was so interesting for me to hear how everybody in the group had been profoundly affected, but everybody also felt their lives were better on the other side. And I think that's so interesting because it ties into creation. I think a lot of people felt like they had the space to create something new.
Clean slate.
It was a clean slate, and that they could pick a new apartment and they could get new clothes and they got rid of the furniture from their ex-partner and they the clothes that they were thinking of getting rid of, and
they have a certain attachment, right?
Correct. So it actually cleaned out the space energetically to actually have something new. So that's a thought also, right? Which is looking at what blocks our creativity and looking at it from an energetic perspective about what are we holding onto energetically that stops us from moving forward or stops the flow.
And when we think about Psychic Social, I really was thinking about recently how we had tons of ideas at the beginning and we had everything outlined, and sometimes I'm coming back to this and I see all the proposals, all the events, and we were on the track. But then universe came and had a very tough summer for all three of us to kind of focus on bare minimum, right? And I was like, oh no, we missed the moment and stuff like that. But then Sherry said, well, let's focus on one thing that really sparked us, and it's just it's in
Flowing.
that creative flow, right? It's just happening by itself, which is the Psychic Social Club, these gatherings. And I think that was the best thing we did, to just like,
simplify.
It might not be all the, we did one beautiful event, which was great, and we want to do it more and more. But I think the wisdom of being like, yes, let's create this, let's build the foundation of these gatherings to be just together and feel where the creativity flow goes from there. I think that was sometimes the acceptance it doesn't have to be a huge masterpiece right now. Just continue training your craft.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
Right.
musicians, just keep, it's not an album yet, but just keep making music.
I love that.
Right.
So that's very
Yeah.
like, it actually lifts that burden of like, oh my goodness, that was my, because we were still very business oriented,
Yeah.
to be like, from this moment we need to do this, and
Yeah.
we need to trim in 3 months this, which is great.
Right.
Right.
At the same
Sure.
time, life is happening,
Mhm.
and it's like, it was like, oh, that's not going. So version 1 can be, oh, it's not working, everybody's just doing whatever, and we still be friends. 2,
Mhm.
let's push ourselves and do everything and don't sleep, just push it through and put
Yeah.
all our money towards that.
Yeah.
Or 3, just let's see how the creative flow works for that.
I realized something when we got clear about that, sorting through like how many ideas were coming at us left and right, and not all the energy we were building
Yeah.
up with these concepts and these wonderful things we wanted to produce. Like thinking about it, it's like you were coming at this like feeling your inspired energy like amped up. Your inspired energy was amped up. My inspired energy was amped up. And so like we're fueling, like dousing all of these ideas with like extreme gasoline in the best ways. But the sustainability behind that, it's like we were generating more energy than we had the resources
Capacity.
the capacity to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
So learning how to slow it down to a maintainable flow.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing and curating and cultivating. And I think a lot of other people in life will run into that. I was like, that's why burnout's a thing. It's like they're going. And they're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's important to recognize. What is the flow state like? Not the over resourcing, over pouring. Like if you're pouring water into a container and it's just overflowing, what's it doing at that point?
Yeah.
There's
So
no longer the
Find the
containment.
natural state.
And also it allowed the universe to work through us,
Yes.
right? So, which is like, look, let's just do this one thing. Let's see how it evolves and let it inform us,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So the creativity informs us about
Exactly.
what is needed. What does our community need? What does our community want? What do
And what
individuals-
do we need? I really
And what-
like
yes.
our last conversation with Joy last week when he said, "I'm doing the music and I'm writing the words I need to hear right now."
Yes.
So that was
yes,
very
yes.
nice. So I think that's what we need right now, and that's why we started the light conversations, because it was so natural of our conversation or something we were discussing during the social club to kind of put it online, right? It's very old-fashioned, if you will. And yes, everybody's doing it, but I don't think in that format,
Right.
to be honest. So I like that. Well, that's our second project, if you will,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
It's like our thing, and slowly when we hear, okay, it's time for the next thing, I think we're very in tune with each other to be like, hey, how about this? So,
I mean, you think about it, when we started, we knew one thing, that we wanted to all three work together.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
the dominant part.
and we did have a lot of ideas, and then, like I said, it distilled, and so this was partially so why, I think for me, the big thing is that I love working with you guys.
Yeah.
And that love, and the thing that it's shared, and that love is what keeps building and building and building, and it's like, and we're all intuitive, we all, and also I think there's a level of trust, right? So I think we trust each other, but we also trust what comes through, we trust our community, and that's been really powerful also.
Oh yeah.
And
The
that
inspiration from the community.
Yeah.
And that gives us space to do our own project by individuals, which is really pretty too. Like you can see us in many places, but not non-stop. I think sometimes the saturation of events and people,
Oh yeah.
especially we're small communities, and it's sometimes it's like, oh Jesus,
That's
all the
true.
same thing. And I
That's
think
true.
that's why we are interesting in that sense. We are very mindful.
Yeah.
In that sense, I hope so. I mean,
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to just address the Psychic Social Club for a moment. So we are still in the process. We're getting closer all the time of finding a venue that will be consistent.
yes, and why we're so picky. We want the
Nice.
space to feel good.
Yeah.
We want to work with someone that's very intentional and mindful. So it's not just like, oh yeah,
Sure.
let's go
Yeah.
there. We want it to be budget friendly.
Yep.
We are able to get a space for $500 an hour, but that means we need to charge for it, and that's what we are trying
Right.
to
Correct.
avoid.
Right.
So playing in with that, we want to be a space that it's comfortable for everybody to come from whatever neighborhood you are coming from. parking space and so on. So we're working on that. I think in January was nice to have a break from all the events
Yeah.
in
There's a lot
in
going
December,
on.
yeah,
in
that's true.
December. So we'll start hopefully by
I think February. We're very close. We're very, very close. So I think by February we should be able to announce that soon. That's coming.
But also finding the flow of it. There's been this beautiful opportunity, like with as many psychic socials as we've done, we've highlighted different businesses as a result of it too.
That's
So
true.
we've brought new people, introduced them to these different venues, different locations, which I think is a beautiful offering for community support.
I agree.
So yes, there's the idea of us wanting to find the consistent place where everybody knows where to go,
yeah.
but
Right.
keeping it
But
kind of,
tempted to
yeah,
be
the universe thus far is keeping us on our toes and
Yeah.
keeping us going
That's
all
true.
sorts of directions.
You're right,
So
that's
be in flow. So
Yeah.
wherever we land,
Right.
wherever we go,
Yeah.
Psychic Social will continue, however, whatever form it takes, wherever
That's
it
true.
lands.
That's
Agreed. That was really good.
Yeah.
You're right, because I hadn't really put that together, but you're right. It's like we were at one place and then we went to another place and then energetically that didn't align. So then we went to another place which we liked, but probably getting more expensive. And so now we're looking at other places. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's always flowing.
and we always bring good karma to wherever we meet. So
That's
I
right.
think they're pretty happy to have us as a rule because we're
Mhm.
exposing people to their venues. So if you have a venue that you think you'd like to host a Psychic Social Club, just reach out to one of
That's
us.
right.
So-
And I was thinking as the end of the conversation, if we don't have anything else to
No, I
add,
think that's good.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. No,
we
this
want
is
to
beautiful.
encourage you to do something creative today. Just do
Mm.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be a doodling. Oh, by the way, doodling.
Oh,
Laura,
yeah.
Are you still doing
Oh,
doodling?
Yes,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still doing
yeah,
doodle
yeah.
nights. I do doodle night at Roots to Crown every Thursday from 7:30 to 10.
Okay.
So, and that's a free event. That's just a show up. There's not necessarily a structured, like, we're all going to paint or do this art thing. It's doodling. It's not too serious. Anybody can show up and just hang out and have great conversations, keep
Love
your
it.
hands busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really nice community there too. So just do doodling.
Yeah.
Just sing. I don't know, dance. It doesn't have to be in art form, but just create
Find
something.
what feels good,
Yeah,
right?
just have. I would say 15 minutes. Be in that space.
Yeah.
What I want to create for myself or for the people around me.
It could even be a good sandwich, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, get creative with cooking.
Oh,
absolutely.
that's my thing. My
Oh,
thing
yes.
is cooking.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's the only reason why I look at Instagram these days is just to
Yeah.
get weird, wild
Inspiration.
chia recipes.
And
So.
when you cook, put it in a nice plate,
Yeah.
put it in a nice setting on the table because it does matter. Like just put it nicely. Don't eat on the stove. All the mamas, I hear you. I know what I'm talking about.
Give yourself 5 seconds to appreciate the beauty in what you've just created.
Exactly.
Don't allow phones at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, distractions. so.
Yeah, as much as you can. Of course, we
Yeah,
can.
I know.
Constantly being, but just create. So that will be my
Right.
inspiration for you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, and before we wrap up, would we like to share with our audience how they might be able to contact us individually for
Yeah.
other
Yes.
things to be
Yeah.
inspired with?
Laura first.
Oh, so I go by Lora Hypnosis on social media. It's LORAHYPNOSIS. You can find me. You can book readings with me, hypnosis sessions with me. Also, I do psychic development coaching right now. So reach out to me on all Instagram, Facebook. I'm even on TikTok still, should that maintain itself, and YouTube. So find me in all those directions.
Well, Sherry Platt, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And so please also subscribe to our YouTube channel. But I
Three
have
of Cups Entertainment.
yes, so I'm doing private career counseling and coaching, and still doing career voyant readings as well, and channeling as well. And yeah, that's my
And
primary
she's
focus.
creating a very interesting book, which we
I am.
might share more or not today. But
Not,
it's
yeah,
very
we're still working on that, but I
Things are
also,
Yeah.
as soon as I get up to 1,000 on TikTok, and I'm only 7 people away, by the way.
Okay, go,
Yes.
go.
Right.
Sherry
Sherry Platt.
Platt.ma.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I am going to launch a money manifestation playful thing because I've tried manifesting money for so long and it never ever works. I know that sounds terrible, but what has been recommended to me has not worked. So I've been channeling this really fun process and we'll explore that.
And it's working for her. So
It is working.
That's interesting.
But it's nothing that I've ever done before, so
Yeah.
I want to share it with people and see if it works for them.
All right.
Okay, your turn.
And vladacreative.com. You'll see all the links and socials there and a little bit of my work. What I do is I help you elevate your business, your idea. I brainstorm. I'm your psychotherapist for your business. So just check us out
Yeah.
and just let us know Any feedback is welcome. Do we
She
need
did my
to-
website. She's really amazing. Yeah.
She's very creative in her work.
We all do. That's why we like each other.
Yes, that's true.
And we'll share all these links in the description down below this
That's
video.
true.
So
All
follow
right,
us for
create,
more.
create, create.
Go ahead.
No, I'm
We
coming
got-
very slow.
Bye.